All right, so here we have an API that allows us to retrieve a list of quizzes, right? A particular quiz. But how about the questions that belong to these quizzes, right? We need to be able to not only retrieve the quizzes, but also the questions that are inside of these quizzes that belong to these quizzes. So let's head over and introduce some questions that and relate them, associate them to some quizzes. So let's head over to Mongo, right, and insert a couple of questions, right? I believe we have some questions that we have stored in an array, right? So for instance, in the services, here we have a JSON file that lists several questions that we have as samples. So let's store a couple. Let's create a couple of these questions and store them in the database, right? Let's see, what do we need here? So let's see, we have these questions, we have the ID, so we don't need those because the database is going to create those. We do want the title, quiz ID, right? So we don't need the quiz ID because our original implementation was for the questions to have a foreign key to the parent quiz, but we're going to change the implementation to have the quizzes have arrays of foreign keys to the children, right? So we're not going to need these IDs, so we might as well remove them. So we wouldn't need those. So none of these, right? So I'm just going to remove them. What else? We don't need these. We don't need this, right? None of these foreign keys we need. Okay. What else? Let's see. We have the actual question, right? The correct, and then the type. We have the question, right? The Java, then the multiple choice. All right, so it looks like everything else we do need, right? So let's create and insert a couple of these questions. We don't need the IDs, so let's remove all these IDs. Again, we're not going to use this array anymore, right? And instead, we are going to store all this information in the database. So let's insert a couple of these. Let's insert this first question. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to head over to Mongo. I'm going to say db.questions. Right, let's see all the collection that we have so far. Let's say show collection. So we don't have the questions collection. So let's create one. So db.questions.insert. I'm going to paste that in there. Right, so we were able to insert one. Let's make sure that we can see that collection now. Notice that now we have a questions collection. We can do db.questions.find just to make sure that we were able to insert that. So yeah, we have that one question. Let's insert a couple more. So this one right here. So we're going to do db.questions.insert. Okay. I'm going to paste that in here. So that's one. Oops. Paste that and close the parentheses. What happened to the parentheses? No, what's going on? Paste, parentheses. Okay, we insert it. Do it again. I'm going to paste another one. Paste, parentheses. There we go. We'll do another one. Copy, paste, parentheses. We'll do another one. Let's copy this one, paste, parentheses. Let's insert a couple more, just one more. Copy, paste, parentheses. All right, so we've inserted presumably how many? I think 5 or 6 questions. Let's display them. So we can do db.questions.find. All right, we have quite a few questions. Let's pre-print this a little bit so that we can read this. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions. We're able to insert all these 6 questions. We have the IDs. Some of them have choices, some of them don't. They have the different types, right? So we'll know what type it is, whether it's multiple choice or it's a true-false question. So excellent. So we were able to insert all these questions in MongoDB.